Well, at least when I was a boy, the story of Treasure Island was a favorite. I don't know. It's impossible for me to tell you a story without having demonic attack in the middle of it, because I don't know. Because it's just as impossible to tell you a good story when there are shit demons here on my ass 24/7 for over 6 fucking years. Because that's what I have. I've got a band of real devils, non-physical, that devil me and devil me and devil me. So I'm trying to give you a story about what I hold for you. My vision for all of you dirt devils. Rumpy's children. Rumpelstiltskin's children. Because every child loves Long John Silver, a devil, in Treasure Island. Because Jim Hawkins, a boy of 12, meets this man, the one-legged man, Long John Silver, and he sees that he's a cunning snake and that in the end he's stupid. Because he sees him, when Long John Silver first meets you, he gives you the perfectly practiced salesperson's spiel. And it's impressive. And expert salespeople, but they give the same spiel over and over and over again, 100 times a day, every day. And every day it's the same spiel. So because I'm being fucked with, because I can't possibly tell you how difficult it is to be me trying to deliver to you a speech when there are a bunch of people who are trying to stop me from talking. Not because they care whether you get my message, they don't. Just simply because I'm here and I stand for something, and because of that, they're going to stand in opposition. Because they're always opposition. Because they don't stand for anything, ever. They always stand against, and that is why they are the Antichrist. And you're going to wonder, why are you calling yourself a warlock, Bob? And then, it's like you're not a warlock on the Antichrist side. Because I'm the warlock. And my vision for every single one of you dirt devils out there is that I get you out of the lake of fire. Because Hanuman, of the Hindu pantheon of gods, told me that you have to get your karmic lesson. Which means, you dirt devils that are going to the lake of fire, you need to get a good burn. You need to get good and burnt, because Anakin Skywalker got good and burnt by the lava. Because he did. And you all know that. And that the path to the lake of fire is you are going to get burnt. And you're going to get damaged. And it's going to be brutally horrible, horrible, horrible. And you got to have a good, it's not a scorch. It's not just, no. If you want a scorch, you get your lighter, and you put a lighter underneath your hand. And you see how long you can handle that hot steam that comes off your lighter. You can't, as a human. So, and I can't talk you out of your devilry because I've got the worst demons you could ever imagine here. For years and years and years. And some of them, I can't help you because I can't say for sure whether a devil is playing a head game, because they'll play a head game. 14-month head game. Because they will. So, because they pretend, because they think somehow I want you to change. And I do. I don't want anybody to suffer the horrible, horrible, excruciating, excoriating pain that is predicted by devils ending up in the lake of fire. Because they call it gnashing of teeth. And this scream, if you go look at that picture, just look it up on the internet. Edvard, Edvard, Munch, M-U-N, well, put M-U-N-C-H, but there's like one other letter in there because it's like a German name or something. But Edvard Munch, The Scream is a famous, famous, famous masterpiece picture, painting. And it's The Scream. of somebody in the lake of fire. From the book of the Bibles, all the Bible's books about. Because I can't help you out, I can't help you out, because 2 thumbs down on forcing me to change my words. Because that's what happens all the time. And you can't get a pure message from me because there's too many other devils that just want to say they want to play Mark David Chapman. So just if it's on your list and it hasn't been named yet, mark it down. Because devils like Brent Beeson, he plays Mark David Chapman, who was the famous assassin of John Lennon in New York City. Because you take somebody who's got celebrity star power, John Lennon, and you want to get an instant celebrity star power equivalent to him, so what do? Is you murder that guy. And that's who Mark David Chapman is, and that's why we know his name. Because he never sang a song in his life, and he didn't amount to anything at all. But he's up there in the Rogues Gallery with Willie Nelson, who sings that horrible, horrible, horrible story of the highwaymen going around and raping children. Because of that song about the highwaymen, which sounds so impressive, because it's coming from devils. But if you listen to him talking about taking baubles, it means he's a horror of a devil, raping and killing children. The character of the highwaymen. You can go back and listen to it again. And you think of what is he talking about when he said, enjoying his baubles. B-A-U-B-L-E-S. There's like Christmas tree ornaments, baubles. That's what he calls killing children and raping children. The Highwayman song. You go listen to it again and listen specifically to the Willie Nelson section. And that's what he's talking about. So, if you think that's a wonderful song and go order yourself a bud and listen to the Highwayman, then you order yourself a whiskey. Neat. And you listen to that highway song and you sip that neat whiskey while you're listening to Willie Nelson talk about that. Because it's not a beer drinking song, it's a whiskey song. And at the end, you might have sipped it, or at the end, you might have finished that part of it, and maybe you're going to gulp that, or maybe you're going to be like Detective Sipowicz and realize that you're a fucking alcoholic. Because at the very beginning of NYPD Blue, Andy Sipowicz was a hardcore drunk. And he was a policeman, and his job was shit because he's just drunk all the time. Fucking up. And they show you, he gets like 5 or 6 shots. He says to the bartender, line him up. And the bartender knows he comes in every day for his 5 shots in a row. And then there's a hooker there. And, does the shots. He looks at her. You want to do a drink or not? She does a drink. And off they go. And do you think he even can perform? No. Goes back to his apartment. And she has to fuck off because he can't get hard on because he's drunk. And in the end, all he's going to do is have a bottle there at home. And he's going to drink his life away. Because that's the story of Detective Andy Sipowicz on NYPD Blue. And if you can find that, it's, it's a story that we all watched. It was, #1 hit show back in the day. And it's about alcoholics dealing with this bugbear of booze. Why am I bringing it up? I don't know. I'm just coming around. I drank. I certainly did. Decades and decades. Was I drunk every day? Well, at certain times, yep. I'm no different than anybody else in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. Drinking culture. And drinking makes you an asshole. Isn't it true? This movement in my hand is not voluntary of me. This is the dirt devils that are on me all the time. They do this. They shake my body all the time. But I show you all the time. Because sometimes if they're on you and they're electronic devils, you need to put them to the test. Because if they can move your body around, they might say, well, I can create everything in your reality. And it's not true. So this is the smell test for whether they're real poltergeist or not. You take a box of Kleenex like this, and you go, and I can move that with my air. And then you tell the devils, whoever it is that, is bedeviling you, move that Kleenex. And the devil's the bedevil me by remote neural monitoring, which is electronic torture. Can't do it. Never could do it. And if you ever are in a situation where you feel the presence of something evil, because they can make you feel like there's a cold presence or a hot presence around you, yes, they can do all kinds of things. They can fuck with you 100%, as if they were a true devil in control of your body. But they can only affect your physicality and your mind. They cannot affect external things in the external environment. At least so far. Because I'm not going to say that they can't. Because they have evil intentions that are in subconscious mind. And sometimes horrible things manifest every day. Murder attempts against me by these, in this room, there's nobody here, but it's electronic. Just like Star Trek episode Mirror, Mirror in the original series. I don't know, there was other things I was going to tell you. This blue hat here is, it's mom hat. Okay, it's mom for me. This one, when I wear this, I'm going to play Mr. Mom, okay? Well, it's just that clearly there's a lot of devils who need the Lake of Fire experience. On their bucket list, it's I need to be a devil dancing in the actual, real Lake of Fire. Like flames licking up in a bonfire. You want that experience? Okay, I'm your mom. Because you're going to have somebody who's going to remember that at some particular time you were a little infant child of 4 days old. And that's your inner child. And I have to rescue your inner child because that's still in you. And that's the child that's been traumatized because everybody on planet Earth has gone through all kinds of traumatic experiences. Every single fucking person. There ain't nobody on here, not even a 1%er living in an isolated gated community because they get old and then they get sick. And you saw that in the movie Being There a long time ago with Peter Sellers, because there was an old guy who's like, 85 years old, and he's living in as the bubble boy with, filtered air, and everybody is totally like sterile around him, but still he's like, he knows he's on the way out, and you can't buy an afterlife. But, you're all had at some particular juncture a child, and, as Mr. Mom, I got to do something for your inner child. Because somebody's going to try and make me whine. I'm not going to whine. Because you're devils. And that's Brent Beeson, the devil, who's giving you phony baloney. Because he says, clearly, this is what he does all day long. So as an adult male of 62 years old is what he told us a long time ago. Brent Beeson, the devil. There's nothing redeemable about a devil. But a 4-year-old infant? What if the infant calibrated under 200 in the scale of human consciousness? The Antichrist. Damien Thorne is the person. In the movies, there's a trilogy of movies called The Omen. O-M-E-N. Horror movie, absolutely, and he is the Antichrist. And it's the story of the Antichrist. And he's born into a 1% family. The story of him. Another 1%er who's also evil, the Antichrist, is the character played by Jürgen Prochnow in the movie The Celestine Prophecy. So if you want to see how rich 1%ers like the Koch brothers, K-O-C-H, might be, there's 2 movies for you where you can go and see what the Antichrist looks like. Go and see the Celestine Prophecy movie first. Because it also shows you a path, besides the devilish path that led to Jürgen Prochnow becoming, what he is and what happens to him. You need to see what happens. In the Celestine Prophecy movie, you need to see what happens to Jürgen Prochnow, the 1% devil. Because you need to see the movie, because it could shift your whole view on things. And in the end, Me, as a human being, I do not want to see anybody going into the lake of fire because it's an unbelievable horror for me. Because it is. I can't help you out. Anyways, Hanuman says that you need to pay off your karmic debt. It must be done. I don't know how long in the lake of fire it's going to take to burn off your karmic debt. But, as the warlock, I'm between a rock and a hard place, as Brent Beeson the Devil would say, because I don't want anybody to suffer the horror of the lake of fire. I don't, because I've had the burns, just, like steam burns or whatever, and it's excruciating painful, and that's nothing like compared to the lake of fire. And, I tell Brent Beeson all the time, is like, if you want to go to the damn lake of fire over and over again, I don't know, he's fucking with it. Anyway, this is why I can't get you out. Because even though, if I even think of you as a 4-day-old infant baby, you're not. You're not. You're devils. And you do evil. And you put yourself in the lake of fire with your intention to go there. So how am I going to counter your intention to do it? I don't want to see anybody tortured. I don't want to see any devils tortured. I hate the idea of it. But, as the warlock, what can I do? I can't yank you out of here. Because even if I did have some special superpower to get you out of the lake of fire, and I yank you out and you're no longer burning and flaming more tortured, have you changed since you've been scorched? We're going to say no, because we're just going to go with no. We had long-term experience with devils, and we're of the expectation that once you get to a certain intention of being a devil, is like you never will change your intention. Not to say that you can't or you won't, but just King Clancy and Brent Beeson and Eat the Rat are not going to change. They're going in the lake of fire, and they will be in the lake of fire, and even in there, Eat the Rat it does a mind trick on itself. And it makes a lie a truth for it. So it keeps the horrible, horrible, horrible experience of Eat the Rat going into the lake of fire, blocks it out of its mind, blocks it out of the rat's mind. Because it was shown how horrible it is. And the rat wants to devil and doesn't want to know all the time when it's deviling that it has put up a barrier between the truth that Spirit showed the rat, the lake of fire, well, a flavor of it, and the horror of it. On the left-hand side was the horror of Damien Thorne, the Antichrist baby, crying and crying for its mother, the jackal. And the jackal doesn't come to suckle that thing. So the baby sounds like a baby, but it also has got like a banshee wail to it as well. Damien Thorne as an infant baby. The jackal that it was born of didn't come to give it milk. And it's a horrible energy of permanent, it's abandoned hope, all ye who enter here. Damien Thorne entered that place where there's no hope. And it's a horror. It's a most horror. It's really, really, it's an eye-opener. It's like, I don't know, all those words that you get for souls that are lost souls and beyond lost, it's just, he did it. And basically the message is that somebody's ahead of you and thought of some unbelievable horror and is now experiencing that unbelievable horror Damien Thorne, that Antichrist, because they're not just one. You know, there's zillions of Antichrists. Zillions. There's way more Antichrists here on planet Earth than there are Christs. Are you surprised? Did you think that? Because most devils think that, there's a whole shitload of people going to church. And I'm going to pull a Dylan roof and go in there with my machine gun and mow them all down. But, truth be told, because I saw a bunch of people come out of the Anglican church just the other day. And did they look churchy? No. No. To me, they're Anglican atheists. Because there are a lot of people in the Anglican church who are totally atheists. Well, they even get into the priesthood. And they admit that they don't believe in God. But it's a job, and, it was available. And, they learned enough so that they could give you a homily or something. But they don't believe. In the movie Constantine, which was on TV last night, they show a priest. He's a fat fuck. But he's dressed in priest garb, and he's got the official priest. But, anything comes along, everything is above his pay grade, because he can't carry out the office of priest. Well, he can show up, and, he's the priest, and he'll have, whatever, a glass of coffee with you or something. But he's not a priest of God. But this guy is, well, he didn't ignore the plea for help from his parishioner. He didn't ignore. He went, so you're going to give him credit. He just doesn't have enough balls to carry off the job. And he has enough balls to go and show up and do the menial things, have a cup of coffee and, say, well, at least, I'm here and I'm dressed like a priest. Because that's as good as it gets. But that was good. Seriously, just to get somebody to dress up like a Catholic priest and go and show up when somebody calls and said, I got a spiritual emergency, he did. And it was over his pay grade. So what did he do? He didn't call another priest, and he didn't call, I don't know, he was dressed like, he would be Catholic. Yep, because it was a Filipino tenement building that they went to. And Filipinos are all Roman Catholic. And this priest was, he wasn't Filipino, he was European, maybe, a fat fuck, a white guy, a fat fuck, European, you can watch the movie. But he knew that when you got something serious and he had a serious demonic possession problem, he called, is it John Constantine? Whatever his first name is, he just goes by Constantine. And he called Constantine, and Constantine came. Will I come? If you call me for, I have no idea. Because if you called me as Bobby Burrows, I don't. Unless the Spirit makes me go. I don't know. I don't decide. Spirit. I don't think Spirit decides either. It just, I don't know. I can't help you out. I don't know. That's the words that I'm going to give you. Anyways, if I'm called, then I'm sent and I go. If they call and I don't go, I don't know ahead of time. I just, watch as the silent witness here. Because that's what I do. Everything else happens, including the talking, happens without me intending to talk. Because I don't. I intend to breathe. And when I breathe, if the mouth moves and talks, then the mouth moves and talks, and it's a channel from when I listen, and then we might be given, that sounds like a ghoul feed from a devil, because we do get those things. Or that might sound like a good piece of truth, or a good piece of truth with maybe a little bit of tinge of, because the devil didn't want a perfect truth, so they maybe say something or mumble something a little bit so you didn't hear it perfectly. That happens quite a bit. But, it's just that if you watch Joel Osteen on TV, it doesn't appear to me that he's being hassled by devils while he's talking. Doesn't seem like at all. So what does that mean? It means that the devils let Joel talk. And he talk you a good talk. And if you listen to his advice, he's a great motivational speaker. Excellent, excellent, excellent. But he's not attacked by devils. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm singled out other than, as far as I can tell, it's because I'm at higher consciousness and in, they call it higher consciousness, Christ consciousness, when you're up high on the scale of human consciousness. But, I told you, Wayne Gretzky, when he got the Conn Smythe Trophy for Best Player in Stanley Cup playoffs, when he was playing, when they won the Cup, he was at 900 in that state of flow to be the best hockey player in the world. 900. So, seriously, 900 is Christ consciousness. Well, you didn't look like Ned Flanders flying around there on the no. Because it's not religious. And you go up to higher levels of consciousness, do you have the impression that you're going to be the Pope? No. Olympic athlete, gold medal winner, Conn Smythe winner trophy. What do you think? More consciousness makes you a better performer. So why do you want to be a slob on Dead Man's Curve in the Skid Row bar? Why would you want to aspire to that in your lifetime? Because I did that, when I was, my 20s. I did a lot of sitting at the bar. In my 30s, I did a lot of sitting at the bar. And in my 40s, I did a lot of, not really sitting at the bar, no, but still drinking. Yep. I'm no different than anybody else considered Earth normal in Thunder Bay to be somebody that just, has beers and couldn't have them every day, no big deal. Because our culture is what? An alcoholic culture. It's normalized alcoholism. And that's a disease. So why is it that we have liquor stores in Thunder Bay? Why isn't Thunder Bay a dry town? Because the people don't want a dry town. They want to be alcoholic. I can't help you out. Did I want to be alcoholic? No, I didn't go every day and say I wanted to be an alcoholic. No. But if I was in a situation where, I was with my friends or whatever and we popped into a bar, well, it's a social thing and, sooner or later I'm going to have a bunch of beers under my belt and, in my 20s I was tubby. Well, for me, my normal weight is 165 pounds when I was, I don't know, what grade would that be? Let's go grade 12. 165 pounds. So, I don't know. 172 pounds should be my adult weight, which is normally where I am at these days. But in those days, I don't know, 185. About 15 to 20 pounds of tubulard beer belly in those days. So, there's the remains of my Molson muscle is there. That's it. So, that's it. That's what it looks like. Fat or skinny, that's what it is. So it doesn't look like a beer belly unless, I'm sitting down. If I sit down and then let my belly out, that's my beer belly. I don't know. It's not perfect. I can't help you out. But for an old guy who used to drink a lot and used to be tubby, it's fallen off. Do I miss boozing? No. Because the last few times I had anything like that, it was like, I don't like it. Makes me sick. Horrible puke-a-thon. I don't know. I didn't want to drink at the end. Rumpelstiltskin, the devil, made me drink at the end. Because Rumpelstiltskin, from once upon a time, is a real devil. Anyways. If Auntie Helen, when Auntie Helen had her National Enquirer Day, we did get a Mickey and, had a small drink for Auntie Helen. And, that Mickey lasted, I don't know. It's like, the body will drink small amounts of booze. Or, last year I bought beer and, I don't know, I had like 3 sips out of the beer. And then I put a plastic tape over it and put it back in the fridge, and in the end I dumped it. It's just the body doesn't get off on booze anymore. doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. And it doesn't get off on the weed neither. I don't get high on weed. I don't. I don't know. It's the government weed because I haven't had black market weed since the government weed came out, and the government weed sucks. It's horrible. And in the old days, the black market weed was a bee and I stone, and I don't get any kind of a stone from this stuff. Do other people get stoned from government weed? I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not affected by the weed anymore. But it's mostly because the devils give me fibromyalgia, and because we watched the television commercial last night, at the news hour, and they put on the big pharma commercial for shingles. Well, if you know what they do, what do? They have got everybody on remote neural monitoring. Everybody on the planet. And they have from the time I was a boy, so 60 years ago, they had this technology. So the level of technology at the fat controllers is, it's out of this world. And they keep you so dumbed down in primitive conditions. But I don't know, what else do you want to tell me? So how did they give me fibromyalgia? Technical means. Rife frequencies could be one way. I don't know, it's a descriptor and it could not be right. Because it's intention. Simply having evil intention makes it happen. And having a positive intention for others. I don't know, how do you pick your own reality or do other people influence it? Other people influence my reality. So, when I pray for you, I don't want you to have the experience of anything horrible. I don't. If there's anything I can do to prevent pain and suffering, that's what I'm for. I'm for heaven on earth and all of you people being angelic in heaven on earth. I can't have devils in heaven on earth because then it's not heaven. That's what I have to have. And if you have to go for a good long scorch in the lake of fire, before I just can't see it because it's been discussed. It's in consciousness. It was discussed with Brent Beeson and King Clancy the Devils. It's like you have years and years and years with me, and you're still a devil. So getting scorched, I can't see changing it. But until it happens, and then what's going to happen though? Because it's eternal damnation. Because it's your energy that you put in there. Because the lake of fire is eternal damnation. How are you going to get out of there? Which divinity do you want to call on to do a divine intervention? Because I'm a divinity. And I can't get you to stop deviling. So if I can't get you to stop deviling now, then, I put you in the lake of fire. It's a horrible, let us out, let you out. And then next thing you go back to deviling. And Brent Beeson the Devil is going to remind you of the episode of Merlin when he meets a real, I guess they're going to call him a demon, and the demon that's got to be kept in a lead-lined box. Because that's the only way you could keep that demon. That demon, nothing can stop it. Merlin had a hell of a hard time with that demon. You got to watch that episode, Merlin on Netflix. The episode, if you can find the episode where he's got a demon in a lead-lined box. It's like the X-Files. X-Files had the main story arc about, Roswell and everything, but then they'd have these one-off oddball ones where they meet some odd creature, and this is one of those oddball ones. Anyways, I wish you weren't devils. I wish you weren't devils, and I wish that you didn't put it in over and over again, that you insist on the lake of fire burning to a crisp, gnashing of teeth, excruciating pain, forever and ever and ever. The ultimate pleasure in pain, Brent Beeson says, but I can't see any pleasure in it. So I hold my vision for you, that you all are like that the song Woodstock by Joni Mitchell or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Woodstock is the one about the bomber jet planes. That's all of you people. Bomber jet planes with all of your bombs and cruise missiles and every other horrible, horrible thing that's on your bomber, flying across the sky, chemtrailing. And, Joni Mitchell says, all those bomber jet planes turning into butterflies above the nation. And that's what I'm still hoping for, that all of the devils get converted into. Brent Beeson showed me a devil that turned into butterfly, and the butterfly wasn't a good butterfly. So but then it's not heaven. It's got to be butterflies in heaven. That's what the bomber jet. That's what the song says. It didn't say they go from being bombers to being, morphing into bomber that looks like a butterfly. No, she meant real butterflies from the garden. And that's the vision that I still want for all you demonic people, is I want Woodstock to happen to you, and then your butterflies, and you never ever think about going back to being a dirt devil again. So that's the divine intervention that I hold for you at 600 peace on the scale of human consciousness, because I truly, truly, truly do not want any sentient being or unsentient being. I do not want horrible, horrible for anyone.